Hi guys, it's Tammy with Cheers to Creativity, and I'm going to take a couple minutes and show you a black cat, but not this one. This is a black cat with cat eyes. I was playing around making eyes of cats and came up with an idea to show you. So, my surface for this project is going to be a book. Either a book you paint black or one that you find that is black. I often will look at the hardcover books at either a thrift store or even Dollar Tree and take a peek underneath the jackets if they're hardcover to see what cover the book is and see what I can think to do with it. So I'm going to grab me a pencil and something straight. I'm sure a ruler would be great, but this will work just fine. I'm going to lightly draw me an idea about where the middle of the book is. Just a little dot, just so I kind of know. And then I'm going to draw two cat shape eyes. I want my eyes to be a little more tilted up. I'm drawing, oops, that's not showing up for you. Let me try this. And I just want to make sure they're about equally spaced from the middle. They'll probably change shape a little bit when I get started. All right, so that's all I've got is the sketch of that on. Now I'm going to pick out whatever color I want for my eyes. This time I'm going to go with a green. This happens to be Decor Americana Hauser Green Light. And I'm going to fill in my eye shape with that color. It certainly has taken a turn for the fall toward that next season weather here. I'm not quite ready for it. I do not have my iPad on today, so if you are on, pop on, say hi. Tell me where you're watching from or what you're up to painting. And I will be sure to check on comments and questions when this is finished. They might not be exactly the same, but depending on what your book is made out of, I mean, it should be made out of paper, but sometimes that surface might be a little slick. You can always go over it with a clear coat of matte medium, gel medium. That'll kind of give you a little tooth. This one was pretty good. Just had a little bit of texture to it. That might be good. Okay. All right. So I've given my eyes a coat here. All right. Now I'm going to pick up a little white, and I don't like bright white on a book, a black book, so this happens to be Oyster Beige. Again, Decor. You could use straight white, or you could use a little light buttermilk as well. I'm going to take the same round brush, just the tip, and I'm now going to make that eye more of a circle toward where this cat's nose would be. I'm going to fill in the part closest to the nose with a little bit of white. I'm going right over the green I just painted, or whatever your base color is. And now I'm gonna go on the back side and give it a line so it is more of a circle again for his eyeball. And I'm gonna pick up, keeping the white on my brush, or oyster beige. I've still got a little bit of that on my brush, or I can pick up a little more. I'm gonna pick a touch of black and then mix those colors together so it's not black, more of a gray. And I'm gonna fill in the back part with the gray. I'm doing this sideways, so it may need some adjustment as I go. Okay. To give my eye a little more cat look, I'm going to take a kind of a rusty brown. This one is honey brown. You could also use raw sienna. And I'm just going to use my round brush again. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of the eye color, and I'm going to flatten my brush out on my plate, and I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of that brown, and I'm going to blend it a little bit on my plate first, and then I'm going to go around the top part of my eye. Good enough on here to do it this side too. If you need to pick up a little more, do so. Put it on the top, and just a touch at the bottom. And rinse my brush out. I don't know if I got enough of that brown color on there or not. I can barely see that. Oops, which way? There. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of the brown, honey brown. A little bit at the top, and just a touch at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with black, and you can make your pupils as big as you want them. These I made kind of small, and those are a little more diamond shape. And of course our silly cat, they're big and round. So completely up to you. I think I'm going to go for a little more roundness on my top and then come down to more of a point. Remember, start small. You can always go back and make it bigger. You can try to make them about the same size. Although I guess cats are an awful lot like humans in that no two eyes are exactly the same. From there, I'm going to outline the eyeball in black, just the round part we created. So the gray and the off-white are going to show up a little more. Can almost be the Grinch's eyes at this point. I'm going to go back with a little bit of that oyster beige, just a little bit of my brush, and that small little highlight on this eye, on the outer edge, and on this eye, a little stronger on the inner. And then I'm going to take most of the paint off, and I'm just going to very, very lightly put just a little bit of a mark in the center of the eye. I'm going to switch to my liner brush for a moment. I'm going to thin a little bit of that oyster beige. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to draw what would be his, I guess that's kind of his eyebrows, eye whiskers. A little more water because of the texture with this book, it's kind of making it go in different directions. And do the same thing on the opposite eye. A little smaller as they come out. All right. All right. Remember that center dot that we did? We're going to use that to kind of create a nose. I'm going to go back with the oyster beige and a touch of the black to make a gray. I'm going to let this be my center. I take most of my paint off my brush, and I'm going to let it come out a little bit on each side. Barely touching here. It's going to flare out a bit. And you can either leave a little black showing for nostrils, or we can come back and add it back in. Again, I'm taking most of my paint off my brush. If it gets to be too heavy, I can come back and add just a touch more black and lightly go over it. From the nose, I'm going to pull a little bit up toward each eye, very lightly. A little too much gray here. Oops, and that's way too much black, but that's okay. We'll blend that all in. You have to go back and forth to cover that spot up. So I've kind of created the idea of where my nose would be for my cat. I'm still working with that mixed gray color. Oops. Needed to mix a little more. Keep her two lines coming down from her nose, very light. Okay. Then you're going to take that brush and take almost all of that paint off. So you've got this gray brush, so you've taken most of it off. And I want you to just lightly put some little marks, tap marks, on each side of that nose. It's very light. Let me bring this up to you. Oops, wrong way. Just barely touching. I get away from the nose, I get lighter and lighter. It fades into nothingness, or in this case, into the black behind us. I'm going to define my line a little more on this side and this. I'm going to rinse my brush out and go back to my liner brush. and a little bit of the thinned oyster color. And I'm going to draw some whiskers starting about where the nose is, and they're going to go pull down. A slight arc to them. Boy, this book is really liking to suck up my paint. I'm keeping my lines really light. I can always go back and make them thicker, but this way I have a base down for the shape I'm trying to follow and where I might need to come in and add heavier lines. All right. So I'm going to look and see if I need any more definition anywhere. I'm kind of thinking I might want a little bit of a highlight in the bottom of my eye, so I'm just taking a little bit of that lighter color we're using, just a little streak at the bottom. And I'm going to come in with actual black paint and my liner brush, and I'm going to go ahead and outline the eye. Does two things. It kind of cleans up any lines I may have had from my pencil marks, and it also gives me a chance to kind of reshape it just a touch. Or the best I can do doing this on my side. You can get much more complicated with this by adding tons and tons of lines around its muzzle and its nose. Or for this particular purpose, I'm going to keep him super, super simple. I'm going to come back and define a couple more of my whiskers that are coming out from his nose area. And that is going to be my cat book of spells. I'm going to go back and make sure I put a little bit of a nostril showing in here for his nose. If I need to, I can define the outside of it a little more. See how lightly I'm touching this though? It's just barely anything at all. Little tiny bit of lighter color. I can make those. So there you have our cat eyes for our Black Cat Book of Spells. I hope you had fun watching this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you very soon. And until then, be kind, be safe. Cheers.